Welcome back to Toy Trends with me, your host, Scott ToyGuru Neitlich, a 20-year veteran in the toy industry. Today, we're going to be talking about short packing. And no, I'm not talking about packing your suitcase. I'm talking about what goes in here. Master cartons for toys. Whether it's action figures or dolls or little play cars or heck, dog toys. I mean, actually, even salty snacks. Everything winds up in a master carton. But let's specifically talk about toys, and let's look kind of at the action figure category. That tends to be the category I know the most about, because I worked the longest in that, because I happen to love action figures the most. I'm a collector in my spare time, and it's kind of what's driven my interest in working on the property. And from that, I kind of have a unique perspective, the fact that I'm a customer, but I've also worked in the industry. And that's definitely given me a unique perspective on a lot of things. And in the case of this video, we're going to talk about case packs and how that works, and especially about the concept of short packing, which means the figures that are not as heavily packed in a master carton, which looks like this. A master carton is a cardboard box that gets shipped to your Targets and your Walmarts and your Bob's Toys on the corner, and inside are lots of action figures. And usually you're going to get an assortment. Sometimes you will get every single figure in the assortment is different. In the case of 6-inch figures, usually you have assortments of 8, and sometimes maybe you get a wave of 8 where every figure is unique. Other times you're going to have to repeat a character or 2 characters or 3 characters, which would make the characters that don't get repeated called short packed, meaning they're only in the case at 1 unit per case, and they might be harder to find because they would sell out faster. Now this is from an assortment case pack. The other type of case pack you can have is what's called open stock, and this is usually for online ordering. Things like Amazon or Entertainment Earth might use this, and this is where you'll order a case pack of solid case packs of 1 single figure, and short packs don't apply there. Alright, we're really just talking about assortments. And most of the time, when you see assortments, and let's use 6-inch action figures since that's kind of standard these days, well, if you have a case pack of 8, you're going to have to repeat figures. And usually the ones that get repeated are the A-list characters, like Spider-Man here is. Both of his versions are 2 per case. Or other times, you have 2 different characters repeated. So in this Fantastic Four wave, you have Dr. Doom and Thing double packed, with the other ones being short packed. Now, double packing doesn't always work. For example, on the aftermarket, you can see the new Thing is selling below retail at $13 versus the original Walgreens one is $80, because fans tend to prefer the classic version. And even with this reissue, because it's modern, with modern shorts and a head, it's not as desirable. I mean, that's my opinion, but based on that quick snapshot of prices. Going back to the traditional way of doing it, when you have 7 figures and you can just double pack 1, again, Spider-Man here is the 1 character that's repeated. They didn't repeat Ghost Rider, they didn't repeat Kraven, they just repeated the main A-list character. Again, another example, and I'm going to continue to use 6-inch figures packed at 8 per a case just for consistency here. So again, in this Avengers wave, you see that War Machine is the most A-list character they have, and in this wave, and he's double packed. He's the one that's packed 2 per case. The most, ideally the most recognized character on shelf. I guess maybe Loki, but not as, that was a comic book look versus movie look. Another great example, X-Men Wave. Look who's double packed. Gee, what a shocker. It's Wolverine in his yellow outfit. That was the one he had in the cartoon that most people recognize. So, again, you're not going to double pack, a Gladiator or something like that. Another time figures are double packed are when they're new. So in this Star Wars 3 3/4 assortment, you can see that the 3 characters that are new each got a double pack, and then the 2 characters that were carry forward or reissues with different paint, like Bouche Leia there, they were single packed. So that's another strategy that's often taken. Not just the A-list character, but the new figure is sometimes packed double. All right. So what happens when you don't have 8 characters in an 8-pack master carton, and you have to figure out who to double pack and who to single pack? Obviously, when you have 8 figures, you're just going to do one of each and hope that they're all just as popular. And why is this? Science! Yes, the toy industry follows science. There's something called the pack-and-a-half rule, which is specifically implemented by retail so that they can have a pack and a half a pack at retail at any time. And this applies to everything, not just toys. Food and cleaning goods. Essentially, retailers want to have a full case pack and a half a case pack on the pegs with that other half case pack in the back. This is all built into planograms and how stores are laid out. I'm probably going to do a whole video just about planograms and store layouts, because when I said it's science, this is really where it comes from. Next time you're in the toy aisle, really take a deep look at it, and you'll see how everything is laid out. There's a place for everything, and everything is in its place. It's very, very scientific. Measurements of packaging is done to the millimeter. And this is, again, not just with toys, it's with any product sold on shelf. Food, toiletries, you name it. And it's because real estate at a big box store like a Walmart or a Target is money. Essentially, the space that a product takes up, it has to generate X amount of sales to justify the space on shelf. All right, so back to case packs. What you're really trying to do is avoid a peg warmer, is really what you're doing when you're deciding who to double pack. Now, sometimes a figure can become a peg warmer not just from one case pack. For example, the Jane Urso figure that was in the previous image and in this one here shipped in multiple waves. In fact, I think she shipped in 3 or 4 different waves. I have 3 of the images here that she shipped in. So it was the same figure repacked in 3 different case packs. And that did lead to her peg warming. She was, if you will, overshipped. Yes, she was the star of the movie, but they just were putting her out way too much in way too many case pack assortments. So that's one way a figure can become a peg warmer, is by putting them just in too many assortments, and then you wind up with something like this at the end of the day. The other way you can wind up with a peg warmer is by double packing the wrong figure. And that's why it's very important to know which figures should be single packed and which ones are double packed. And again, science. The difference between a good brand manager and a great brand manager is knowing case packs and understanding who to double pack and who to single pack. It's important to note, and I've said this in other videos, that 80% of toy purchases are by moms and kids and dads and grandparents, meaning not collectors. And toy companies do a huge amount of research on this kind of stuff. I mean, they look at, who's buying it by gender and by age and by demographic. I mean, toy companies, and every toy company I've worked for and everyone I haven't worked for, have just thrived on understanding statistics. And they know that girls prefer dolls and boys prefer action figures. Yes, we all live in this world where we all want to be genderly equal and all toys for everyone, but that's just not the way kids play. Check out my other video on play patterns for that. And that is why you don't see, again, as many female figures in the boy aisle. Why Teela wound up being the short-packed figure in Masters of the Universe. Because she was the female. Yes, collectors really wanted her, but the 80% of purchasers are not looking for females. They are looking for male characters because that's who boys identify with. Now, you will get aspirational females. I'm not saying females can't be badass and can't be awesome action figures. There are absolutely exceptions to the rule. But overwhelmingly, female characters don't sell as well to boys because boys action figures are avatars for the imagination. Boys want to see themselves as this character. And the females tend to be more accessories in action figure lines, the way Ken is an accessory for Barbie. So Wonder Woman works well as an action figure, works even better as a doll with rooted hair, because that's, she's then got doll play. And that is, all comes back again to case packs. And while Wonder Woman might work being double packed because she's the lead of a movie, for the most part, female characters tend to be the one that are always short packed because they're being sold in the boys' aisle. And all of this is because the thinking is someone's going to come in and buy one of each figure that when they're first put on shelf. So that means that the extra figure, the figures that are double packed, should be the figures that are the most recognizable, that are instantly recognizable. So that when mom and dad and grandma and kids are buying toys, they're going to recognize the character that's left on shelf. The other ones, the females, the more obscure characters, have already been bought up. Moms are the gatekeepers. I mean, again, you want to go into gender politics, that's a different YouTube channel. I'm just going with the straight facts. And moms tend to be the gatekeepers between child and toy. And if the toy is not mom approved, it's likely not going to wind up in a child's play chest or playroom or toy chest, which is why moms want to walk in and find Spider-Man and Wolverine, and they're not going to be looking for obscure characters like Gladiator or even females like Tila. And yes, this is a necessary evil. I get it. I get the frustration as toy collectors because we're looking for Tila and we're looking for those obscure figures. But if you overpack Tila in a case pack or you overpack an obscure character, then you're only catering to 20% of your audience, which means you're losing out on 80% of the sales. And that's where the toys have to make their money. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to kill the line. If you do this, if you overship both females or obscure characters, at the end of the day, nobody winds up winning. Nobody's happy with it. And the problem is, nobody wins that way. You've got to find a way to make it work for everyone, and that's what makes a good brand manager. And I hope people watch this video and have learned from it and learned why figures get short packed and how packs and case packs work. I'll probably do a whole other one on planograms in the future. If you like this video and want to see more, please subscribe, and we'll keep more coming to you. Thanks, everyone.